Coming up on The Weekend View, Katy Perry opens up about the bumpy landing she's had since coming back from her controversial trip to space. Comedian Sarah Silverman shows why you could be talking yourself into being miserable. Plus, Jojo Siwa comes clean about her messy public breakup and how she found a surprising soulmate from Celebrity Big Brother. It all starts now on The Weekend View.
Thank you. So Katy Perry has been the target of online trolls since her recent rocket ship ride with fellow celebrities like Gayle King and Jeff Bezos, fiancé Lauren Sanchez, who's been on this show, by the way. Right. Here's what Katy said when they got back. Watch.
I hope they can see the unity that we modeled and replicate that and understand that we weren't just taking up space, we were making space for the future. And for me, like Gayle said, this wasn't a ride, it wasn't a destination, it was a journey, and it was a supernatural one.
What?
I want whatever she's on. Journey.
So, needless to say, she took a lot of heat for that trip. But the online hate against Katy has only gotten worse since she went out on tour. What's the problem that they have with her and this whole trip? I keep hearing about it.
Well, I think because it started out, they were calling themselves like astronauts, and there was no
Who was calling them astronauts?
They were calling
calling themselves. Well,
yes.
maybe it was supposed to be funny, right?
No, it wasn't.
Oh.
It was. I think they felt that way, and it's like, it's not really. You're not really an astronaut. You're taking a space voyage vacation for 11 minutes, right? And so when you think about that as space tourism at a time when people can't afford to buy eggs for their children. And I think that's, it's a little tone deaf. I love Katy Perry. We've had her on the show so many times. I think she's a really genuine person. But the way this played, it just seemed to.
And Gayle King took a lot of heat.
And I love Gayle, too.
Yeah. But I love that she said we modeled unity. It was for 11 minutes. We can be unified for 11 minutes.
Yeah,
she is. No, but I think
this is very funny.
I can see, like, when I was preparing for this, it was listed, all the things that people were calling cringe about her. And I think the biggest thing about this story is, regardless of what she's done, says nothing deserves the vitriol and the online mob mentality that has become so popular online, where they will tar and feather and stone you for something like her journey of unity. Like, and I know there were other things. There was like a flower, and then there was a collaboration on a record. Lots of things. I just don't think it's out of proportion. That's the thing I would say.
But Sunny doesn't agree, right? You don't agree.
So I've
it was tone deaf for me.
Tone deaf we can get, but I don't think anyone here would say that what she's gotten, what she did merit what she's gotten.
Because I was like, I think I was in Costa Rica or somewhere when this happened, and I was, every time I turned on social media, there was this barrage of hatred going on for them. And I don't know if just like my outrage has its limits and it's kind of reached it on other issues, but I tweeted out, with everything that's going on in the world, I mean, it's not like they're deporting 4-year-olds with cancer to Honduras.
That's true.
They went to space. They did a junket to space, and they were tone deaf, yes, and all of that, but it's not like the punishment does not fit
the crime.
The crime. But when I was many years ago, I got invited to go to Katy Perry's house because she was doing some sort of promotion for a record she was releasing. It was a very weird dinner.
I remember that.
But she can do no wrong.
What was weird about it?
Are you looking
the crowd?
up
The
there?
crowd. The crowd.
But she's very, very nice. She's gone through a lot in her childhood. In my eyes, she can do no wrong because she's the reason I got Cha-Cha. I met her little dog, Nugget. And forget about that's Nugget, her dog.
Oh, look, she's a good person.
Well, I think
She is a good
we're
person.
seeing also the mob mentality meets the algorithm, and you saw it with Anne Hathaway, you've seen it with Blake Lively, you've seen it with Katy Perry.
Yes.
There's probably critiques that are fair of all of those women, just as there are of every one of us.
Yeah.
But it becomes something where people get this like dopamine hit out of hating people, and they want to see the next
feeds the
thing.
worst
And
of us.
creators then get incentives to post and find and dig up old clips. In any person in the public eye, if you search, you're gonna find times that they seemed insensitive, or their answer wasn't right, or they were kind of rude. And I think it's just a reminder, like, to give people a little bit of grace.
Yeah.
Even if sometimes things they do are a little cringe.
These people
We're
have
all
nothing
cringe.
better to do than just attack people who go into
Yeah,
space.
they have absolutely nothing
Nothing
better
to
to
do.
do.
Yeah.
It's
They
often
do,
like
but they're choosing
they're
to do
hurting,
something.
they're
Yeah.
angry. The online social media world has created an invite for people's rage.
They are
And it-
basically just thugs
But-
in their mama's
and-
basements with some keyboard courage.
But it
That's
comes in all
That's-
forms, though. The
that's
thing
it.
is, it's not just the thugs in the basement.
And the bots.
It's grandma. It's like Aunt Cindy. It's
Yes.
Uncle Roger.
No, yeah,
it's everyone.
This issue transcended just the trolls and the bots. This
Yeah.
issue really kind of,
It was everywhere.
I mean, I'm gonna be
everywhere.
the I clicked. Like I do fall into this trap, but then you start to
But
see
you
when
don't
it's
post awful things about it.
But I'm like, oh, what's the latest? But then you start to realize how mean-spirited it is, and you kind of want to like pull
I
it out.
remember I recently, I don't look at the social media comments that much because they're so horrible sometimes. And but my friend decides she's going to send it to me, and she said, you got to look at who sent it. And it was like a grandma, and
Do better.
no lie, I love Christ.
I love Christ. A lot of them.
But you know what?
How much can you love Christ if you're calling me curse words?
In today's day and age, if you're going to put yourself out in the public eye, you've got to know that it comes with a territory that you're going to get attacked terribly and horribly, because a lot of people get courage when they are anonymous online.
Yes, they do.
And you've got to, you've got to learn how to turn it off.
You do.
Nobody gets to define you other than you. Don't
Yes.
listen to the noise.
can't.
Listen to your own voice.
Okay, all right, let's move on. So, another topic. There are plenty of reasons that people have a bleak outlook on life these days, like at this table right now.
The hell do you mean? This is the most positive I've been all week.
Okay.
It's a low bar.
But on a recent episode of comedian Sarah Silverman, I love her, her podcast, she claims you only have yourself to blame. Watch.
Our brain also engages in confirmation bias, whether it's negative or positive. We can set it to be positive. If you say God has a plan or any of those kind of quote unquote positive thinking things, your brain immediately goes to work confirming that is true. If you're negative, nothing goes my way, everything always goes wrong for me, your brain immediately goes to work finding proof of that.
Well, I guess what she's basically saying is your glass half full or half empty, or do you see your life in this sort of positive light or negative light?
I think it's human nature to knee-jerk to negative. The internal voice of all of us is critical. It's a culmination of all the...
Not mine.
Okay, with the exception of Sunny, most of us, it's like a critical voice in there, so it's easier to be fearful. Your mind wants to be busy going into the anxiety and the fear. I do believe what she's saying is right if you retrain that muscle to go to that place, but it takes reps and it takes years, and I think it takes a while.
I thought that was so well said, though, that you do have an amount of control and agency over your feelings. And it's when you have those days that you are just down, if you can learn the things to lean into that are just going to cheer you up, like comedy always does. If I find something that's going to crack me up, that will get me out of the bad mood. Hugging my dog, little
Oxtail
things that
pizza.
Oxtail pizza, little things, and you do have actually
Margaritas.
control.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned comedy, right? So
Yeah.
when I was doing stand-up, before I would get on stage,
You'd throw up.
they hate me. I have to go to the bathroom, diarrhea. I'm never going. This is going to be awful. Even after I was really getting good at it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so there was this woman at the bar one time, and she said, "You have to creatively visualize that they're going to love you, that they're going to think you're the greatest." I said, "Are you trying to kill my warm-up?" Because if I start here, I've got nowhere to go.
Oh, so
I start here, it's going to be terrible.
But, you know,
so everything is going to be,
So
oh,
it
they
helps-
like
so
me,
that
they
would
really
help you.
like me.
See, I have a party in my head at all times, which is something that my husband says to me. Like, he'll come into the house and I'm like, nothing's happening, but it's happening in my head.
Oh, really?
So I'm just like,
Have you seen somebody about that?
I know I should, but like if you have that party in your head and you know that things are going to get better, or you know that things are
You're
good here or
basically
there.
an optimist.
Yeah, I am.
Clearly, Sunny
you
has
know
never
what, though?
been in a depression.
No,
because
I
anyone
know.
that has
Yeah,
knows
no, I haven't.
how bleak things can feel.
Well, I was in a depression when I was on bed rest for like 6 months.
that's
through IVF.
But I don't know why why seeing things sometimes in a negative light and sometimes in a positive light, why they're mutually exclusive. You know, why can't you? I mean, some days I look at things and I'm like, this is not good, and some days I'm at a concert and feeling pretty damn good. And but I also, there's people who begin their days with like affirmations,
Gratitude.
and meditation and gratitude. I begin my day with the New York Times. I think maybe I need to change my routine.
No, but I begin my day in the same way. But what you do is just don't go to the front page because it's terrible. Go to arts. It's Thursday, so you go to the arts section, you go to the style section, and then you're happy. And then you go to the ugly section, and you're like, oh, that's.
I live by nothing's
Just so
ever as
happy.
good or bad as it seems, and then you kind of are baseline to like you might be disappointed or you might be actually pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. Well, I see that the table has different ideas about this.
Yeah, party in your head.
What does Joy have?
Joyce. We'll be right back.
Josephine.
The Weekend View is sponsored by Rock Skincare, clinically proven.
Alrighty. So singer, dancer, and reality star Jojo Siwa recently dumped her partner at the wrap party for Celebrity Big Brother UK. And a lot of her fans are wondering if it's because of the bond she formed with her Big Brother housemate, Chris Hughes. Take a look.
It's just a really strong bond between two people, which is just a strong friendship.
Yeah,
and I think,
but
I think you can have like
Yeah.
a soulmate friendship. I think that's a thing.
Yes. He's a great guy. It is platonic. We have a lot of fun together. Life is life. And I don't know any future of anything. But I'm really grateful for our dynamic that we have and our bond that we have. And whatever life does, life will do.
So the question is, can you have an emotional affair, sort of a soulmate, with somebody who's not your husband?
No.
Or as Rabbi
That is more offensive than physical
Rabbi
affairs
Shmuley
to
wrote a
me.
book called Kosher Sex, and he says that if you have like these emotional attachments, that's like cheating.
Kosher?
Oh, it's
Yes.
I totally
Yeah.
agree.
You agree with
It's the
that?
worst.
In some ways, it's almost worse.
It's absolutely
like I think a
worse.
lot of people could forgive an indiscretion if changes are made, but falling in love with someone else and relying on them and them being your best friend, oh no,
But
no,
it's
that's the worst
platonic.
thing.
I believe it's platonic.
But women, there's a lot of touching in that. There's a lot of massaging and
That
stuff.
was like emotional
that.
sex.
Yeah, there's too much massaging. Look at all that.
Oh, and by the way, we all love Jojo. She's been on our
See,
show
I
a
haven't
million
even
times.
seen that. Look at all that.
I'm confused by this whole situation.
Why is there so much? Oh, look at that.
That's not
Why are you confused?
Why is there so much petting?
so
But she's not now dating that man. And I'll say this, the partner she was with, they were only together a few months. So this isn't like they were together 10 years. And she did say, you know, this is a platonic relationship. But I think what makes it tough is you can't break up at the wrap party. You got to do that a little more one-on-one.
okay.
I also think we've kind of learned generationally, you don't have to put people into a specific box
No,
and
you
like
just
label.
fall in love with someone,
And
or you
But
like
if
them a
you
lot
see
right now.
petting like that, ladies, you know what's going on. Come on.
All right, let's do another topic.
You can't do that.
So it's spring wedding season, so there's a lot of traffic on the Reddit forum about Bridezillas. You know what those are, right?
Yeah.
One desperate bridesmaid wrote that her Bridezilla, is forcing the bridal party to sit through Zoom meetings,
Ew,
follow
that's so pandemic.
spreadsheets with detailed schedules, and even help clean up after the wedding.
Oh.
2 bridesmaids have already dropped out, and she wants to get out also, but she feels guilty about it because the other 2 left. But you know,
they're dropping down like flies.
Yeah, what do you
There
think
might
about?
be a reason.
What's with
No,
this?
you got to come up with a scheduling conflict. You can't do all that.
Oh no, you quit.
Yeah,
you quit.
you gotta-
you quit
you gotta-
instantly.
But you're supposed
Wait,
to be
scheduling conflict. I love this because that's what Jalen Hurts, the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles,
Good
said
job, Anna.
about going. I know. Look how much I know about football this
Yeah.
week.
They had a scheduling conflict.
He had a scheduling conflict. Whenever I say I got a scheduling conflict, is I don't want to go.
No, I think you tell her you don't want to go. And I think you tell her because
How do you
I think
keep the friendship if you tell her?
who needs a friend like that? Like, honestly, life is too short. If you are getting married and you become a bridezilla, I have very clear ideas about this. You have lost the point of that day.
But it's the most important day of your
No,
life.
but I totally.
But think about it. It's
a
not
fairy
just about
tale.
the person you're marrying.
Don't you
it's
want your
about all
friends
these
to have
beautiful
fun?
people
It
you
is
asked
true
to come
love.
and celebrate and witness this moment.
I would-
And if you're treating them that shady,
I would do the Zoom meeting. I would do that.
you'd make the spreadsheet for her.
What about the cleanup? How do you
If,
feel
yeah,
about
if
that?
it's your real friend,
yeah?
you should say.
Have them clean up after your mess.
I would, no, I'm saying I would be the bridesmaid that would do that. I would.
But
would
you
you-
shouldn't ask it of someone. I would confront the bride and be like, I love you. I want to make this your best day, but you're asking too much of your friends. We want to be there to support you. I had bridesmaids step in and deal with family fights in my family that were taking place, so I'd never
my
know
best
that.
friend drank for
That's
my
what
wedding.
friends are for. They're not there to be your janitor. Like, that's
Don't
not
look
what
at
they
me.
do.
It wasn't me.
Oh, my bridesmaids.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
They're all so sweet.
Yeah, but see, that's so cute because what I did is, you know how like
Is that your wedding? Are those your
Yeah.
bridesmaids?
Yeah, that's
I
me.
have-
No, she's playing a bride.
Yeah, these are just random girls I found.
So I feel like the day should be so
They
much
all
about
have
that.
different outfits on.
Well, that's what I did.
That threw me off.
I'm really bad with aesthetics and stuff.
No,
and
I told all
like
my
that.
bridesmaids to wear something that looked like a sunset because we were getting married down a beach, and I think we have a picture of this too. My brother was
Gorgeous.
my man of honor slash brides,
But a
matron of honor.
sunset is okay.
Yeah, but
that's
see,
pretty.
then it's my sisters, and then my adult best friend and my
Where
two
the
childhood
hell
best
are the
friends.
sunsets that color?
No, but it's supposed to look like the sky.
But I thought the sunset was like more like orange and red. And
Depends on how low the sun is, because sometimes the colors get
No, but I like when
deeper.
bridesmaids feel confident in what they're wearing. I don't like when it's like very specific, like you have to wear this. Like,
And
you
I want them to
feel
wear it
confident.
again.
Yeah,
I said,
but-
go buy a dress, go wear it on
I
the
have
I
I
paid for all of
have
my
a
bridesmaids'
suggestion
dresses.
for
I did
this
too.
bride. So
One
this
at a
bride,
time. Nobody can hear you.
this bride has had 2 bridesmaids drop out already, and a third that's on the edge.
Yeah.
The groom is next.
She needs. You know what this woman needs? She needs understudies. So that if the
I have a
principal
question.
actress.
I have a wedding to go to in June, and I would like to wear black. It's outdoors and it's in the Hamptons.
you can't do it.
What do you think?
No.
You can't do it.
No?
No, it's poor form. Are you going to a funeral or a wedding?
It's
Yeah,
it's a
Fran,
wedding,
our
but
stylist will
What
pick something
time of the
beautiful
day?
out.
in the middle of the day.
You wear gorgeous suits all the time.
First of all, nobody in the Hamptons wears black. Everybody in New York wears black. Then
Yeah.
they go to the Hamptons and they look like French macaroons.
Yeah.
Well, they want me to look like a French macaroon, and I want to look like a piece of licorice.
You red licorice.
It's not your day.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. All right, we're taking another break here. We'll be right back.
The Weekend View is sponsored by Rock Skincare, clinically proven.
So, Lisa was on the Behind the Table podcast with Brian this week. Take a look.
Christy Brinkley was here with us today. Now, I mean, that was, talk about an icon for me. Like, that was amazing. She's a huge View fan. But she said that her life is a series of sliding door moments, from how she helped her mom meet the man who became her father to discovered as a model on the streets in Paris, and even how she met Billy Joel by walking into a random St. Bart's piano bar. Have you ever had a moment like this that something felt faded, or if you had just done something slightly different, your whole life would be different?
Oh, definitely. And what I will say I loved about her is, well, she was everything I wanted her to be and more beautiful, so much fun and so warm at the table. But I also think the reason she feels she has those moments is because she has a very positive outlook on life. Because another way to look at it is like people often think about like the door they didn't open. And it was a lot more about like the doors that she did. And I think about it constantly. Very little of my career was planned and intentional. Like this job was the least intentional thing. And it kind of happened on a whim. You reached out to a million people. It could have gone a lot of different directions. But even every job up to there, I mean, the White House was on a whim, like working for Pence. But a lot of things like that where it was just like, just pure luck and right place, right time, right relationship, right conversation.
So, what do you say?
Oh, no, I had that. I had just had Paloma, so I was about 38, 39. And I was working as an attorney, and I went on a very rainy day to a work-life balance meeting, which is crazy because I don't have work-life balance.
No one has
now.
work-life
No one has that. But I went, and I actually got up and asked a question and spoke a little bit. And then someone came to me and said, you know, I'm a producer, you should do television. And I was like, well, from your lips to God's ears, I have a journalism degree and didn't get me anywhere. And she was, I'm not gonna be plucked from obscurity. And she said, here's my card, you've just been plucked. And she was a producer for Court TV. And I was on Court TV the next week.
I said,
I would have never been here, but for that.
That's how I met Max, though. There was a segment I worked
Court
at.
TV?
No. I love a bad boy. No, but I was a little ahead of or older than the online time, and all these young producers were around me, and I'd gone through a breakup, and they said, we need to create, we're doing a segment on how to create the perfect online profile. Will you let us create a profile? And I was like, an expert? Sure, you guys can make my profile. And it went live in a segment. And the expert said, you need to take it down because it just went live. And I was like, no, I am looking for a husband. Leave it and I found a husband.
Wow. You sure did.
That's cool.
Yeah. Have you had sliding door?
Have I had what?
Sliding door moment.
I've had actually two.
Oh.
Well, one was about this show. I was about to get a sitcom, and I was in LA, and I really didn't feel like being in a sitcom in LA because I like to live in New York. I was never so lonely as when I was in LA.
Location's very important.
Yeah. So I get a call that Barbara Walters would like me to come on this show. And I said, I'll do that because, first of all, Barbara's there. It'll be a smart show.
Right.
I learned later that it wasn't. But who knew? I didn't know at the time. And so I took the job. And then the other one was, before that, I was doing stand-up comedy a little bit.
Yeah.
But I said, you know what? I want to be a psychotherapist.
You'd be a good
Yeah, but it's really something I really like doing. But then I thought, who wants to be alone in a room with all these crazy people? I like an audience. And anyway, so I went down to the postgraduate center to get my degrees and everything. And then I thought, I need money. And so I kept doing stand-up with actually paid better than psychotherapists.
Oh, wow.
My whole life is sliding door moments, but I don't think I've seen them as sliding door moments until much after the fact, right? I mean, like sometimes when I used to be to go back to Nicaragua, I would see my cousins and people who stayed there, who went back. So of course I left when I was 8 years old, and some of was out here for 11 years, and then there was a change of government, and a lot of the people that left into exile went back. I chose to stay. I could have gone back to Nicaragua with my parents, but I chose to stay because I wanted to go to the university here, and I was in my last year of high school. My life would have been completely different.
That's true.
Right. If I had done that. So to me, that's a big one.
The thing about regrets, which we have and we don't have, if you live long enough, I've been around a long time now. And you make it up. I mean, now I run psychodrama groups with people, right?
You won't let me into
now I write plays. I wrote comedy. Now I write plays. You can do everything. Just can't do it all at the same time.
Why won't you let me into your psychodrama group?
It's closed. So you out there can catch the Behind the Table podcast wherever you stream your podcasts, or you can watch us on YouTube. So have a great day, everyone, and take a little time to enjoy the Weekend View.